but also I know a number of you have reached out to me over the past couple of days since Friday's announcement of the Queensland roadmap to easing restrictions, and I know there's some clarity that a lot of you are seeking around some of the specifics and details to that roadmap. So we are chasing those answers, but if you do have any questions, you do want to have a chat with me, or you're concerned about any of that, please do not hesitate to reach out. I think it's great to see so many faces in here today, because it is a really important topic. The Australian Tourism Data Warehouse is something you would have heard us all harping on about for a number of years. It is how we filter our product onto townsvillenorthqueensland.com.au and onto queensland.com.au and onto multiple other platforms as well, which I am sure Callum will talk through. So I am going to hand over to Callum very shortly. But do encourage you today, he's going to go through best practice for ATDW, how to manage your system during a crisis, but also, I suppose, some of the tips and tricks that might be helpful for you as we move into a recovery phase as well from marketing too. So Callum, I will hand over to you, and thank you very much for joining us all this morning.
No worries. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate you giving me the platform. As I mentioned before, I'm really sorry. I didn't know this was going to happen. There's people behind me over my left-hand shoulder climbing into our ceiling. I can assure you it wasn't planned, so I apologize for that. But I'll share my screen, so hopefully you won't have to see them. So you'll just bear with me a moment while I share my screen. Now, can everyone see the PowerPoint I've got up and running there?
Yeah, that's come up, Callum. And sorry, I should have just said to everyone as well, down the bottom of your screen, you'll see a Q&A button there. So Callum can see those questions as well. So if you do have any questions throughout the presentation, or we can answer them at the end as well, just head to that Q&A button. So just thought I should add that one in there. But thanks, Callum, all over to you.
Yes, fantastic. And please do, I'm happy to be interrupted with questions. So please do pop them in there as we go. I'd hate for you to have a question and by the time we get through to the end of it, you've forgotten it. So please do pop the questions in there. So as we know, we're here to discuss the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse and how it can help. Now, I hope that we're all somewhat familiar with ATDW. So hopefully this is a little bit of duplication for you, but it'll ensure that you're fully aware of what ATDW is, how we operate, and a few little tricks to learn there. So without further ado. So what I'll cover today, as we mentioned, is what it is that ATDW is, the benefits of ATDW, the cost, and there's some exciting news out of Tourism Events Queensland recently, as well as our ATDW Online platform, and finally as well, I'll touch on the Best of Queensland Experiences program. Just a disclaimer, ATDW, you often don't hear from us, I suppose. You normally hear from Tourism and Events Queensland. So I'll touch on Best of Queensland, but for really the best information about that program, it is best to contact TEQ. So what is ATDW? Once again, I apologise if you're well versed, but this one will give you a really good understanding. So the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse, we started in 2001 and we've been in operation ever since. We're actually owned collectively by all of the state tourism organisations. So Tourism Events Queensland through to Tourism Western Australia are our shareholders. Tourism Australia is also a significant stakeholder, although they're not an owner of ATDW. So the reason you'll sometimes see a lot of communication about ATDW from Tourism Events Queensland is that they are our owners and often operate the system in the state there. So, and that's why you see a lot of information come from them, but that's the pedigree of ATDW. It's an important tool, but I appreciate that for most a centralised national database might not be that interesting. But what we do is we capture as much information as we can via our platform and provide it to over 300 different websites across the country and overseas. In Queensland, if you list in ATDW, you've got the potential to be up to 60 different websites. So those websites will range from australia.com to queensland.com, and obviously in this, sorry, please forgive the URL there for the Tourism with Sundays. In this case, you'll be on the RTO website for Townsville Enterprise. So the content we try to gather is mostly almost exclusively related to leisure tourism focused. So we want leisure tourism products that once we can all travel again, someone who's coming to Townsville will be able to find their way to the Strand and a coffee shop there and those sorts of things, and hotels and where to stay. Now, it is an individual business listing. So you'll see here it says one accommodation listing per property. So that's just to say that if you have a hotel, you can't list the same hotel more than once. Obviously, you can list your different room types and those sorts of things. But one tip here I'd say it's very important, and that's that whilst you can only list one accommodation listing per hotel, if your hotel has a restaurant or events on, you can list them multiple times. So it's not one listing per business, it's one listing per business category. So, per business in terms of your restaurant. So if you have 2 restaurants, you can list each restaurant twice. And that's really important. The more times you list on ATDW, the more exposure you'll get through those distribution channels, and hopefully the more customers will come through your doors. So whilst it is one accommodation per property listing, you can list, if you've got more listings areas there, you can list as much as you like in terms of the number of businesses that you do have. Does that make sense, I hope, to everyone? So what sort of listings do we take? It's no real secrets here. It's tourism focused businesses, so ranging from accommodation to attractions, events. I've touched on food and drink, and that's an important one there, as well as general services, hire, tour, transport. We also do have destination information listings, information services, journeys. So it's everything you'd expect in a tourism database, and I think one that's important for you to look into where your business fits. Now, if you have any questions about where your business fits, and believe me, it's quite common, so don't be too scared to email us at ATDW or the team at Tourism Events Queensland, so we can help out and guide you through where your listing will fit if it doesn't quite fit neatly into any of those categories. Now, this is the incredibly important slide, I like to say, when it comes to ATDW, and there's a number of different reasons for that. But this sort of will explain how this information that you give us, how it gets right through to the consumers. So it's worth noting on the database industry-wide or nationwide, we receive about 48 million page views on the content. So page views is a pretty interesting thing. It's important to realise that every time someone looks at we have a page view come through, you actually are having a consumer looking at a tourism product in Australia. So it's incredibly powerful to have 48 million people look at any tourism listing that we've got. Now, as you know, as tourism suppliers, you'd log into our platform, ATDW Online, and I hope you've all used that. If you haven't, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to give you a showcase and walk you through how to do it. So you log into the system and you fill in our online form. I appreciate that sometimes that sounds a lot easier than it is, because we do ask for a fair bit of information. The reason we do that is it allows us to best showcase your tourism business through our distribution network. So once you've filled through all the information and you hit the button to send it for review, what it does then is it automatically gets sent to Tourism and Events Queensland here in Brisbane, and they'll actually quality assure the listing. So you will have a person sit down and actually read the content that you're providing to ATDW, to the platform, sorry. From time to time, the quality assurance person at TEQ will say, oh, look, can you please change this part of your listing? And they'll reject the listing. Whilst reject sounds harsh, what they're doing is just sort of providing some pointers in how to improve the listing to get better engagement with the distributors. So once they've done that, the listing then drops into our, once they've approved the listing, sorry, it then drops into our ATDW database. So ATDW hold on to the content, and what my primary job is to be the little arrows there you'll see between ATDW and distribution. So we go and search out for appropriate places to put your content. So for example, an OTA like say C-Trip, who have a presence in China would be a target for us. We haven't yet signed up that particular organisation, but they would be a good goal for us because it'll provide you with more exposure to key markets obviously once the COVID restrictions are lifted, and hopefully pretty soon we go back to business as usual. But that's what we do. So we take the content from the database and put it onto our distribution websites. From there, it obviously flows through to the consumers to see your business, and hopefully we push them towards you, and you get bookings and reservations and customers there. So that's the nuts and bolts of how ATDW works. It's a fairly simple business model, but we think it's quite effective. And as I said, it does allow us to showcase the Australian tourism industry and your products right through to consumers all over the world. So as I've touched on, the benefits of listing with ATDW is that your listing will appear on Queensland.com. So that site, as it notes there, has over 500,000 visitors per month. So that's not to say that 500,000 visitors will see your product, although we hope that they do. That just means that 500,000 different people will log on to Queensland.com each month and view tourism products. So it's best that you do pop your listing in ATDW, because you'll get in front of that audience, I suppose. Other things that are really important about being on ATDW is that you can actually maintain your listing at any time that suits you. As it's in tourism, I think that a 9 to 5 sort of schedule is difficult to maintain for anyone. We're all very busy. So it's good that you're able to actually log on to the platform at any time that you like and update your listing and ensure that it's correct. So we do have a pretty quick turnaround as well. So if you do log on at, say, midnight one night and fill the information in, we will aim to have that listing approved or some notes sent back to you as soon as we can. One of the real benefits as well of listing on ATDW is that Tourism Events Queensland will include you in the Best of Queensland Experience program. So that's a wonderful program run by TEQ, and I'd implore you to look on their website for more details around that. And similarly, I would suggest that's a real benefit of ATDW. Some of the other benefits include the ability to be automatically put onto a lot of different websites. It's a very simple concept. The more websites, the better. So I think without ATDW, and we've seen this in other places, that a tourism operator, particularly a smaller one, that's sort of a sole trader maybe, might struggle to get a presence on the internet or in the major distribution channels. So what ATDW does is it makes it easier for you. If you were to try and replicate the same exposure you get from ATDW on your own, I think you'd find it would be a very arduous task. You'd have to contact lots of different channels, and right from your RTO to Tourism Events Queensland to Tourism Australia and Qantas and those sorts of distributors that we do have, and it would be quite time consuming. We take care of that for you, and when you update your listing, once again, you don't need to go through that process. You just update it in one spot, and it shoots right through to all those distribution networks. So it is one of those programs that's offered by TEQ to you that really just is designed to save you a lot of time and increase your digital exposure online. And of course, and most importantly as well, you do get consideration to participate in Tourism Events Queensland advertising campaigns. So you're really lucky in Queensland, because they do take ATDW very seriously as an important tool for the industry to use, and they really provide as much benefit as they possibly can for you to promote your business. So how much does it cost? So as you know, in the past, the annual subscription fee is $200, and you get discounts through your membership with the regional tourism organisations. As you may have noticed, recently, Tourism Events Queensland have made a decision to assist during this remarkably bizarre time that we're living through, to provide you with free digital exposure by receiving an automatic 24-month extension to your listing. So what I would implore you to do is, before Friday afternoon, please log into the system, update your information. If you haven't got a listing, please complete a listing, and they'll automatically extend you for 24 months free of charge as well. So please do jump into the system and update your content by Friday afternoon at close of business. The other thing to mention here as well is that given the nature of events and that they come and go, there is no charge to list them at any time in the database, and it's a great way to get exposure. So please do list your events. There's no cost. Now, we're not just looking for your classic events. We are looking for things that range, as you can see here, from markets and performances to hopefully soon some sporting events would be great, and business and community events. And I do appreciate, that we are living in this this bizarre time where a lot of what I'm saying, you might be sitting there thinking, well, I can't list my sporting event, and that's true. But it's also a good time. We might as well take this time to find a way to prepare ourselves for when life returns to normal and we can start listing these products. So hopefully, if you can't list your sporting event right now, although I've heard that they're trying to live stream grade cricket from Darwin to get some sport on TV. But if you can't list your event now, please do keep this in mind for the future, so that when we are back up and running, we are able to really take advantage of the products available to us. So ATW Online is the platform that we built a few years ago in conjunction with Tourism Events Queensland, and it will allow you to put your information in. So we've just got a question here. So I'm a startup and not quite ready to list. How do I sign up without a finalised listing and get the 24-month deal? Okay, look, there's a couple of ways. Unfortunately, I can't give you the direct, straightforward answer right now. But what I would suggest that is required is that you contact TEQ and present them with your use case, and they'll be able to find a solution for you. At the end of the presentation, there is a contact there, but I'm also happy to pass my details on to you now, if I had it typed, which I don't. I'm happy to, through Townsville Enterprise, I'll provide my contact details, so please feel free to reach out to me directly. So going back to the ATW Online platform. So this platform, if anyone had used the system sort of earlier in ATW's life, you'd find that it was probably a bit techy and a little bit clunky to use. So we've put a lot of time and effort into making the system as usable as possible and to guide you through updating your listing. So now, once again, there's a few little pointers I'll give here that might seem incredibly obvious, but when you have a database the size of ATW, where we have about 5,000 people log in a month to update their listing, a few people can go a little bit astray. So something really important to remember when you're hitting register now to begin your new listing is that you are a tourism operator. So we do have tourism operator there, and we also have the web developer. So the web developer is designed for people that are going to take a feed of the content. So grab your content and put it on their website to provide you with exposure. If you go all the way down the pathway of register as a web developer, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to put you on any websites until you log back in as a tourism operator. So you are a tourism operator, so please do click on that when you're registering. Once you've done that, you'll be able just to log in with your email address and password. So as we mentioned before, there is the fees attached to it, but once again, please do log on before the 15th or before Friday afternoon and update your information if you can, because that will provide you with a much better system there. And always be contacting your RTOs and LTOs, because they have gone out of their way to be able to provide you with a discount as part of their membership. So please do contact them, and they'll provide you with coupon codes. Now, we've got this slide in here for a number of reasons, mostly because I think if someone were to come to me and ask what the biggest tension point in ATDW and creating your listing was, I would fairly quickly suggest to them that it's the image. We do ask of you a fairly large image, and we do that because it's what our distributor partners have asked us to do, and it's the best way that we can showcase your business for you and give you that exposure. So we don't do it because we think that we're really smart and we know best. We do it because it's the feedback we've received, and it's how we can assist in showcasing your business as much as we can. In furtherance to that, images are great. Images are gold. Without not wanting to say that the corny phrase that a picture says 1,000 words, consumers who do come and look at your business offering on Queensland.com, for example, if they can see beautiful big images really showcasing your business, so have a much better understanding of exactly what it is that your business has to offer. And therefore, we hope that they're more likely to come and stay with you or do your tour or eat at your restaurant. So please put up to 10 images. We'd love you to force us to buy more storage for all of the images we've got in the database. We're happy to do it. That's a good result for us. So please upload as many images as you can, up to the limit of 10. And just to give you some context, we have about 250,000 images in the database at the moment, and we're looking to have more and more as much as we can. So please do pop as many images there as you can. So social media is obviously very important these days. So please, we do have areas that we can ingest your social media pages. And then they do find themselves on Queensland.com. Once again, it's such a valuable resource to have a website like Queensland.com that you can quickly and easily put yourself on as a tourism operator to be seen by the consumer. They do showcase your Facebook, Instagram, and online booking channels and TripAdvisor as well. So please do, if you have those resources that you use to market your business, please pop them in here. As you'll see, ocean rafting here has a video as well, which I'll touch on in just a moment. But you'll see that we can contact you via your website, or we can get your booking online, your Facebook accounts, and Twitter, and all those sorts of things. So please ensure that you've got it linked to the correct account. I don't know of an instance of this happening, but I just realized that if I were to be doing it, I'd probably put my personal Facebook account in by accident and not put my business one in. So please make sure that your correct Facebook account is linked to that. That was impromptu. I've never thought of that, but I definitely would be the one that made the mistake. So please do ensure that these links are correct, because consumers will click on them from that resource you've got in Queensland.com, and they will learn more about your business and understand more about your business from those links. You'll see here the ocean rafting here has a video. So we do actually accept videos into the system. They need to be Vimeo or YouTube. So if you upload them, just the URL to the link there in the system, you'll be able to showcase your videos through to the potential consumers. And there's nothing better than seeing here a more images tab for the consumer to log on to and look at. I guess one of the things I'm trying to really get across here is we built a system. There's mandatory steps that you need to complete, otherwise it can't get sent through, but they are not the only steps. You really will get out of ATDW what you put into it. The more information, the more text, and the more links that you put into ATDW, the greater the exposure and engagement with your customers you'll get. So it isn't just a matter of doing a really good description, one image, and a contact detail. Please give as much as you can. Once again, there's no better result from us than to have the quality assurance people working overtime, because it means that the content that we've got coming in is of an incredibly high standard. So please do bear that in mind when you're doing your listing. I know sometimes they can, be a little bit tedious to fill online forms in, but this one can really help you. So as I mentioned, the links, if they are incorrect, if you're listed at the moment and you're logging on now to see if they are incorrect, you just need to go to the social media tab, as you'll see here, and you'll be able to update the information as required, and just double check that they're right. We do check that they're right, but at the same time, the reason we ask for you to put the information in is because you know your business better than the quality assurance staff do. So we really do hope that you're able to correctly put the right information there and fix it if you're not. The really valuable thing of ATW as well is that the fixes that flow through the website happen very quickly. So we try and turn around the quality assurance process as quick as we can, and we've got mechanisms in place to do that. And then the update on the website happens every couple of days as well. So you'll find that if you do have an error on your listing that we haven't picked up, you'll be able to correct that within a few days. So please don't think that all is lost if you've made a small mistake. We can fix that up and get it back live very, very quickly. And Wi-Fi. So if we can all cast our minds back to when we were able to travel, maybe it was overseas. For me and my wife, we were always looking for a Wi-Fi link so that we could check on our socials and post where we are on Instagram to pretend like we live glamorous lives. If a tourism consumer likes that, as I just mentioned, I enjoyed that. So I think if you're able to quickly jump onto your listing and say whether you have Wi-Fi, free, charged, or whatever it might be, it's really going to help a consumer understand what they're going to do. I know when I travel, I shouldn't as much as I do, but I look forward to getting back to the hotel at night with free Wi-Fi that I can log on and check all my little bits and pieces. So once again, I wish I didn't need it that much, but that I do, it's a real benefit to know you've got free Wi-Fi there and those sorts of things. So it's all about providing us with more information that we can showcase that hopefully can drive customers to your business. So as I mentioned briefly earlier, and I'll just touch on it, is the Best of Queensland Experiences program. Really good to be a part of, and you can't do that unless you're listed with ATDW. So please very much do jump into ATDW and try and take advantage of that program. Just another, and once again, if you do need a lot more information, and I would implore you to look more deeply into it, please contact Tourism Events Queensland or myself, and I can do the introductions because this is a really valuable program. And to my knowledge, and I could be wrong, I think maybe New South Wales, but a program like this is really something that Queensland does the best. I'm from Brisbane, so I'm always happy to promote Queensland. So please do contact more information, get your listing up, because that'll be the first question that they ask you. And please do it by, not that I've mentioned this before, but please do it by 5 p.m. on Friday so that you can take advantage of that elongated offer there from TEQ. So is there any other questions that we've got on listing with ATDW and the benefits of why we should do that? No? Great. So one last thing that I will just touch on here. Oh, sorry, I've got a few more tips for you. Once again, it's all the things that I've touched on previously. Please register and create and log into ATW. Check and update your images, your social channels, and the Wi-Fi. But one thing that I did want to touch on, because I believe there might be a few regional councils in the audience here, is distribution. So distribution, I've mentioned a few times, Queensland.com is a distributor of ATDW content. Tourism Australia, Australia.com is a distributor. Qantas takes some content as well. But the vast majority of our distributors are the regional tourism organisations, so be that Townsville Enterprise or Australia's Southwest Coast and so forth. So councils have a strong role to play here as well, I think, for a couple of reasons. One, I think that the more places that we can put localised content, the better. The more places you are, the more likely you are to be seen. Just because it's on the internet doesn't mean that it's not taking up real estate. So we really do want to see the content go to as many places as possible. Councils, regional councils I've never worked in one, but I've spoken to a lot of employees in councils as I try and get them to put content on their website. The reality is that a lot of work to do, time poor, and need to work really hard. So if you've got a consumer facing website as a regional council and you've got so many competing priorities, if you need to find a way to put content on your website easily and cheap, contact us. We can have it fed onto your website for a very low cost. and it just takes that one task off you and allows you to reprioritize to other things. So if you need tourism content that's consumer focused, please do contact ATDW. We can organise that feed to come through at a low cost, and it will really hopefully streamline, and it's certainly my experience, it'll streamline your day a little bit and help your website to become a lot more manageable, and also provide another avenue for your local operators to see where they are, to be seen by customers, and therefore hopefully drive more business through the region. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, if you have any need to contact Tourism Emergence Queensland, please email there at atdw@queensland.com. I'm happy once again to have my details dispersed so that anyone, if any questions, please contact me. I'm happy to spend a bit of time with everyone, so please don't think that I'm just here to give a speech and walk away. I'd be happy to help out, so please do contact me. And that's it. So thank you very much for your time. I think we got through a little bit quickly, but any questions, I'm happy to stick around and answer them. Sorry.
Thank you, Callum. I just had a really quick question. Should our businesses be updating the listings during this COVID-19 period on when they would be reopening and what the recovery phase is for their own business?
Sorry, that's an incredibly important thing that I missed. My apologies.
That's okay.
Look, with COVID-19, obviously it's changed a lot of the way we operate. We begun to look at ways in which we can adapt the system, and that's another thing I should mention, is that we are always looking to adapt the system. So if you have any suggestions for us, please let us know. A lot of things have changed in our system based on feedback from tourism operators like yourselves and the regional tourism organisations. So we did go through the path of seeing how we could adapt our system to suit current circumstances. What we found was that just like there's no one size fits all. Everyone's business is adapting differently. Be it, I think Subway delivers now, and cafes can have a certain amount of people, and then that'll change in the future. So what we've landed on, and if you jump onto our website, you'll see that we do push you there and into the platform. What we would really love to see is a description of how you've changed your business. So log on to ATDW Online, update your description to say what the new normal is, and hopefully it won't be the new normal for long. Hopefully we'll re-emerge from this, but please log on to the system, update your listings description to describe how your business has adapted and what you're doing and what your new product offering is. And we think that's the best way that will allow operators to let all of the potential consumers know what it is that they can get from their business. Unfortunately, it could be that your business is no longer operating. And if that's the case, describe that, because you might operate in the future. So we still want to have that. The people are still looking. As I said, we have 48 million page views on ATW content per annum. That's decreased, as you'd expect. But from 4 million a month, we're down to 2.5 million a month. So 2.5 million page views are still occurring. People are still looking. Admittedly, they can't act on it just yet, although they soon will be able to within restrictions. But they're still looking. So please do keep your listing live. Please just update your description to describe what your new normal is from your business position. And hopefully once we re-emerge from this, hopefully we wake up and it was just a hibernation, I suppose. And hopefully this, your ability to stay live and listed and in front of consumers assists with that to a small degree.
Perfect, thank you. That was a great point. I just wanted to touch on two other points just for our operators. Firstly, that it is really important to keep it updated, like Callum mentioned, obviously, because ATDW does feed onto our Towns for North Queensland website, obviously the Queensland website, like Callum mentioned, but also feeds into Book Easy, which is our booking functionality on our Towns for North Queensland website. So the more places we can have all that information in one spot and continuously updated, it would be great. I just also wanted to mention that I will send an email out after the webinar with Callum's details, my details to receive the free ATDW code, and also a copy of the webinar recording today as well, in case anyone missed any slides during that. And I also just wanted to mention that on Monday, we have just set up a new webinar for Monday at 2 o'clock, where Lisa from Townsville Enterprise will be going through our 3-stage recovery phase for the Townsville, North Queensland hospitality tourism industry. So I'll send through the link for that one for everyone to participate in that one. But I just want to say a massive thank you to Callum. I know it's a really busy time in there at the moment with all the updates happening within the next 2 days and phasing that in. So we really do appreciate your time, and really want to thank ATDW and Tourism and Events Queensland as well for assisting us and our operators with free coupons.
Great, thank you.
Do we have any more questions coming through at all? Otherwise, I will stop. Perfect. Okay, well, thank you all for your time, and we'll see you on Monday.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Callum. Bye.